Alright. Hey everybody. This is Tom again in Western North Carolina. And this is going to be How to Make a Chair, episode 6, I believe this is. And I'm just going to quickly show you how to make a front post, rough out a front post. Anyways, this is going to be the last video about roughing out parts. And after that, we're going to just get started on refining the parts and making a chair. And I've got a chair like we're going to make right here in the background. Anyways, I need to do a shout out to Dan Sauch, who supplied this log to me. And I told you I was going to talk about the log a little bit. Anyways, there was one piece that was about 40 inches long. That's the piece I showed splitting and loading on the truck and stuff like that. There were also 3 other pieces out of the same tree that were cut about 30 inches long. And that's what I've gotten all the other parts other than the back posts out of. Anyways, there's a good little log. It had been dead a little while or something, and the sapwood was no good, but that's okay. It worked out fine. If you get a tree that's real fresh, you can use the sapwood, and I generally use the sapwood as an accent on the slats. You probably can't see it on the camera there, but these slats here are showing sapwood on the top. You know, and I call that snow on the mountains. You can put the sapwood down also, and that looks good too. Anyways, I'm going to show you how to, I want to thank Dan again and Christine who helped me get that log. Procuring your log can sometimes be a problem. I used to have no problem getting a log, but the last 10 years or so, it's been more difficult for me to get a log. You know, you need to go to sawmills or not lumber yards, but sawmills or log dealers in your area, or arborists. And this Dan and Christine are both arborists, and they trim trees and cut down trees, and that's where this log came from, an arborist. So you got to search around for that, and this log was red oak, and I call it an eastern, that's wrong. I call this one a northern red oak, and it's basically my favorite wood to work with. There's a lot of different red oaks. Anyways, I'm talking too much about that, but you need to procure a log if you're going to do this method of chair making. Anyways, here's a blank of wood that I have split out of that. It's a pretty good looking piece. It's got just a little teeny ripple right there. I don't know if you can see it. But I've got it measured out. I tried to find the center of it. And I'm going to split that to get my front post. And I'm going to get 2 front posts that match. And I'm just going to take my hatchet, put it right on that line, and split it. And boy, didn't that split nice. And see that grain on there? That is really what you want to see in a chair log. So anyways, this next thing I'm going to do is split this sapwood off of there. I don't need it, or don't want it. And I don't want to have to shave it off. So I'm going to split it off. Got one string in there. Okay, I got rid of that piece of sapwood. And now I'm down to this piece here. And I'm going to turn that into a front post using my draw knife. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you right here are 2 pieces that I made using power equipment. But you'll notice, if you can see it on the camera, you can notice that I pretty much stayed right on the grain. I didn't deviate off the grain. And that is one of the keys to making all the parts in this chair. If you're making rungs or front posts or anything, if you're doing by hand, you kind of want to follow the grain, even if that means your parts are a little bit curved. But anyways, I'm going to put this in the shaving horse. Get my draw knife. And I'm just going to waste off a little wood right here quick. Just to get this thing a little bit smaller. Taking these two big corners off that aren't square. But anyways, I'm now going to just go on this side here. The growth rings are running this way, but I'm going to put this side right on the growth ring. Now I've got that right down onto a growth ring, and it so happens the growth ring is curved like that, so right here you can see that that's just right, laying right in a growth ring. Now the growth ring goes off like that, that's why this line is here. But now I'm going to turn this thing up on its side. And I'm gonna make one of these sides perpendicular to that first side, 90 degrees to this first side that I did. And even though there's no growth ring to follow on this side, there is little flecks on this side that you can look at and see the grain in the other direction. It's going to be, I don't think you'll be able to see it on this camera, but I'll try to show it to you. But there are actually little lines on this side that you can tell if you're following the grain good. So anyways, I got these two sides perpendicular to each other. So I'm going to mark off that second side that I just did and put a line on here like that. There's a line there. And then I'm going to put a line on this side. This side here is a little rougher because it hasn't been shaved yet. Oh, dropped my pencil. But now I'm just going to go down to those lines. Notice I've got my knife like this. I'm just going down to this line on this side. And then I'm going to go over here and get down to the line on this side. And that block of wood I had, that measurement there is 1.5 inches. I'm trying to make this 1.5 inches square. So now I'm just hogging out this middle. And theoretically, you should just end up with one wide shaving, the full width, to make this square. that shaving is the hardest one to pull. So that's why I go down this side first. Going right down to the line there. Going down the line on this side. Now you notice my knife started diving in right there, I stopped. Sometimes if you get in certain situations and you feels like you're going to take way too much, you need to know when to put the brakes on and stop your cut. So there now I've got 3 sides. My first side, 2 sides here, and now I'm going to do the 4th side. Drop my pencil down here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it. Try not to lose my pencil this time, but there I've got a mark there and a mark there. I can turn that up on edge. I can see my line a little better. Going right down to the line. Get a little bit right there. Turn it over like this. Get right down to this line. Take the line out. Okay, now I'm going to turn it up and just get all this stuff out of the middle. I want that to be flat. Most beginners, I've seen most beginners, they'll go down to this line and they'll go down to this line and then they'll try to get this in here flat, and they tend to not quite get it flat. The piece always ends up kind of like that, and then with a little teeny mound in the middle. So anyways, you want to try to get it as flat as you can in there. Okay, I'm going down to this line over here. Down to this line. I'm taking out the middle here. You notice I'm not going all the way out here to the bottom of the hill to start my cut. I'm starting up here and I'm working down the hill. If you try to take that whole thing at once to begin with, usually it doesn't work out very well. There's a little teeny knot right there. Doesn't show on that side. It's right there and it comes out right there. Whew. It'll be all right. Now there's a squared out front post. Now I'm going to make it 8-sided. I'm just going to cut all the corners off of it. You want all 8 sides to be fairly equal. Okay, so there's pretty much a roughed out front post, 8-sided. I don't have those sides perfectly equal, but they're pretty close. There's the little knot. It'll be all right. It won't affect it. There's that end. It's got some iron in it. Those are those things, that's iron from saw blades and stuff. So I just did that in a couple of minutes. And I've got to do the other one. But these ones here that I did on the machinery, I would just 8-side them. Make these 8-sided the same way as I just made that one 8-sided. Anyways, there's one other piece in the chair that I haven't showed you, and maybe I haven't showed you an airfoil either. I told you about an airfoil. But an airfoil looks something like this. Oh boy, this is a real curvy one. This is out of a different log. But an airfoil looks like this. It kind of is a double wide rung. And I always make the growth rings this way in an airfoil. You need 3 of them in this chair. They go under the seat here, here, and back here. Now the one piece I haven't told you about yet, and I'm just going to tell you about it because it's just another rectangular piece that you need to get out of your log. And this is what I call the frame front. It goes right here. These pieces here. This is all one piece across here. And that piece, I cut this piece with the growth rings going this way. Because I want there to be ray flex and stuff here on that little corner that's sticking up. But that piece is 1.5 inches by 1 inch. 1 inch this way, 1 inch this way, 1.5 inches this way. And if you're doing it by hand, you want to make it as straight and true as you can. But anyways, this is the chair we're going to be working on. This is a chair we're trying to make. And this one, you know, is obviously complete right now. But anyways, this video, you know, we're pretty much at the end of roughing out all our parts. And so right now, if this is your first chair and you just got your parts roughed out, you need to wait for those parts to dry before you can start making them into their final shape. And my rule has always been that I wait 10 weeks. Now you can push that a little bit. You can start probably working on your rungs sooner than that. You do not want to put your pieces into a kiln or something when they're really wet like these are right now. You will get honeycomb in the pieces from drying too fast, too early. You need to set them aside and let them air dry. You can make your bigger pieces, your front posts, dry faster by steaming them. You can steam them, they will dry faster after they've been steamed, and I believe the reason for that is that you have, by steaming them, you have broken the cell walls inside the wood, and that lets that intercellular wood or intercellular water get out easier. Anyways, those are things you can probably read about in the books, but you just have to wait. These pieces, they won't do right if they're not dry when you go to put them in the chair. Now I've got other pieces from previous logs and stuff available to me, and that's what I'm going to use to go ahead and continue on making these videos right now about how to make a chair. And it's going to be the same process whether we use this wood or some other wood. And so I'm going to be able to continue on pretty soon with, you know, the next step that I feel like doing on how to make a chair. And we'll try to get some of these parts made into a chair. And it's not going to take too long if I stick with it. But today's October the 22nd, I think, 2020. Another beautiful day out. Colors are out. And I hope you all are doing well out there. I'm doing good. I'm thankful for what I have. And I hope you can be thankful for what you have. And I thank you for watching. And, leave a comment if you have a question or just a comment. I appreciate that. Anyways, I'll see you another time. Thanks for watching.